server. Joining us now live from the campaign trail is former Texas governor and Republican presidential candidate Rick Perry. Governor, good to see you. Thanks so much for joining us.
Good morning, Maria.
What's your take on these latest emails that we're getting? These are classified emails identified on Benghazi, which actually triggered the FBI investigation.
Yeah, I'm glad that we're finally getting to the real core of this issue with these emails, if you want to know the truth of the matter. And Benghazi has been one of those they tried to sweep under the rug for a long time. Hopefully good journalism and good professional investigative work will find out that this administration, and particularly Hillary Clinton, was engaged in a cover-up at Benghazi. We're going to have a lot of questions to ask about that Blue Mountain security team that was brought in and her engagement with that. There were some fine Americans who were killed because of errors that were made by Hillary Clinton and her team. They're going to have to stand trial, if you will, by the American people, maybe standing trial in a court of law, depending on what the FBI and the investigative report's going to say. So this is a big issue and one that I will suggest to you she will not weather.
Governor, let me ask you, I've got to move on to Donald Trump and his immigration policy, given Texas and its place on the map. What are your observations from now as we get more details from Donald Trump on his immigration plan?
Yeah, a number of things in that plan that we've talked about for some time. In 2011, I've made sanctuary cities an emergency issue in front of the Texas legislature. We've been talking about E-Verify for a long period of time. Securing the border is the real issue, Maria. I mean, there are a lot of side issues here that people want to spend time talking about. But if I know how to secure the border, and building a wall is not the best way to secure that border. It's putting the personnel in the proper places. It's having the strategic fencing in the metropolitan areas, but it's also having aviation assets flying from Tijuana to El Paso to Brownsville. That's 1,933 miles. I mean, that's how you secure that border, with technology looking down 24/7 and quick response teams that can go to those areas where there's suspicious activity or clearly illegal activities going on. That's how you secure the border.
That makes a lot of sense,
When you
Governor.
secure the border with Mexico and the United States, a lot of these issues that we're talking about go away.
Governor, here's Charlie Gasparino.
Do you still think that Donald Trump is a cancer on conservatism?
Well, I disagree with his positions on a lot of the what you would consider to be conservative issues.
But is that cancer? I mean, those are hard. I mean, listen, I hate, we're talking about harsh terms in context of Donald Trump, but those are pretty. Tough terms.
This isn't beanbag that we play here, Tony. I mean, there's some pretty harsh things, and every now and then you need to call things like you see them.
But why is he cancerous?
I stand because the Conservative Party doesn't believe in single-payer health care. I mean, if I can't think of anything that is more counter to the conservative cause than single-payer health care.
Well, then is Mitt Romney cancerous?
And Mr. Trump has said, I'm for single-payer health care. I think I took on Mr. Romney on that as well.
So Mr. Romney is cancerous as well.
Listen, I stand by what I said. And I think trying to get deflected off on, well, you used this word. Let's talk about the real issue here. And the real issue here is Mr. Trump believes in single-payer health care. He said it. Now, if he wants to decline what he said and put it behind him, do that.
Give me your take.
And also,
give me your take,
I don't
Governor.
like people taking a shot at our veterans the way that he took a shot at our veterans, and particularly guys that have been captured. I had a young man who lived with me for 2 years in Marcus Luttrell, and I'm going to stand up for those young men. And whether you're trying to shoot at somebody else and the bullet went through them and hit them, that's fine. But
Governor, early we had
I stand by what I said.
Early we had on Art Laffer, who of course worked with President Reagan. What do you he said the most important fiscal change that we need to see, fiscal regulation, is tax reform. What is your vision for tax reform, Governor?
Well, obviously, lowering the corporate tax rate, I've got two things that go hand in hand. Using North American energy, there's more energy in Canada, the United States, and Mexico than there is in Russia and Saudi Arabia. You use that, you develop that, and you drive down the cost of electricity. You couple that with lowering the corporate tax rate, which also raises mid-level wages, and you will give an incentive to manufacturing, both coming back on shore and organically growing in this country. You want to get America back to work again? That is the quickest way to do it. Lower that corporate tax rate and couple it with a driving down of the cost of electricity. You get Americans back to work.
I like it. That's
and you
a
raise
solution.
salaries, I might add, for mid-level workers.
Governor, do you think that Trump's a protectionist?
You know, I don't know. I'll let him answer that. The policies that we need in this country is to make America more competitive. We got a tax burden that is too heavy. We got a regulatory climate that is just strangling. We saw this administration going after the oil and gas industry. They hate fossil fuels is all I can figure out with what they've done, going after the coal industry, going after the oil and gas industry with these methane rules. And, you know, I know how to free up an economy, the 12th largest economy in the world. I was the CEO of for the last 14 years. We created 1.5 million jobs from 2007 through 2014, while the rest of the country lost 400,000 jobs. That's the type of proven results leadership that America needs.
Yeah.
Not people that talk about it. It's a show me, don't tell me election.
Hey,
Let's
Governor,
see what you've done.
When you arrived at the Iowa State Fair, a reporter asked you if you were humbled by your appearance this year, in stark contrast to 4 years ago when you arrived in that rock star status. How would you characterize the state of your campaign today?
Well, I would tell people I get humbled on a regular basis. Number one, I've got a 29-year-old daughter that humbles me on a regular basis. But also, just on, I hope we have a president who is an humble individual and a person who has humility in their life, that understands the presidency of the United States. I want to work for the American people, not the other way around. I don't know if everybody really understands that. I want to go to Washington, D.C. and try to make Washington as inconsequential in Americans' lives as I can make it.
Well, Governor, how long can you run the campaign with the amount of money you have right now? How's the fundraising? We had the best week of fundraising we've had since last June, this last week. So, and listen, everybody's had challenges in their life before from money. I mean, I certainly have as a farmer out there in West Texas back in the 70s and the 80s.
Right.
I've had, in my personal life, I've had it as a governor. We had $10 billion shortfall. You address it by cutting spending. That's what we've done. We've cut spending. It's not going to change anything from my perspective of me being in Iowa, me being in South Carolina. I had the best turnouts that we've had here over the last 48 hours. I'm going back to South Carolina this later in the week.
Governor, we're going to be watching.
We're going to continue on with our campaign.
Thank you so much for joining us, Governor. Great to catch up with you. We appreciate your time. We'll see you soon, Governor.
You're welcome.